In the past, I used to use Yahoo Answers to get some of my answers to questions I would happen to have, but I've recently stopped using them because I've had too many annoying and or stupid answers. In this video, I'll show you some of the answers that I've gotten that are just absolutely frustrating. Like for example, here I asked, would a sagging ceiling disqualify you for Uber? The reason I asked this question is because I was planning on putting my car in Uber and to try to make a little extra money. But the only problem is the ceiling on my car was sagging, and I wasn't really familiar with Uber and how they worked. I wasn't sure if they were going to actually inspect the interior of your car and be like, oh, passengers don't want to sit in the car with a sagging ceiling, so you're disqualified or anything like that. So far, though, I've actually never had a complaint about the sagging ceiling. But, you know, back then I wasn't really sure. So, turns out all you really need is to pass the safety inspection, and of course, the sagging ceiling won't disqualify you from that. So as long as you pass that inspection, you're pretty much good to go. But this is the answer. This is one of the answers that I got. This person says, like everyone else on Yahoo, I have no idea if it would disqualify you, and I have no idea what an upholstery shop would charge. And I'm like, seriously? If you don't know the answer to the question, then why would you answer it? In fact, the main problem with this website is people, well, you have a certain amount of points. You lose points for asking a question. If you don't have any points and you want to ask a question, you have to answer some to gain points. Some people take advantage of this system and just answer, you know, ridiculous answers. Like, I've gotten yes or no to a question that wasn't even a yes or no question. People do stuff like that just to get more points. They're not even worried about answering the question, and it still counts as a point towards them, which is really annoying because I don't think they should get any kind of reward for purposefully answering a question without being serious. Okay, here's another. Both of the answers to this question are ridiculous. So, I was asking, how do you install an aftermarket stereo in a 2005 Volvo S40? The thing with my car is it has a very special setup, and the radio has a very complicated system of wiring that is integrated into all the other systems of the car, such as the ventilation system and a bunch of other stuff. And because of that, there's not really much of a way that you can simply take this radio out and put an aftermarket radio in, or there didn't seem to be at the time, and there still doesn't seem to be, because it's such a complicated system, and it's just not compatible with what aftermarket stereos have. So this person answered by the wiring harness adapter. This is what you would do on normal cars if you're trying to install a radio. You'd buy a harness, a wiring harness that plugs into your car's wiring on one side and into the stereo on the other side. But there is no wiring harness for my 2005 Volvo S40 because, like I said, the wiring just isn't compatible. The wiring on a stereo isn't compatible with the one that's in my car, and you just can't buy one for it. So this person probably doesn't know anything about Volvo cars when he answered this question. He just assumed every car had the same type of stereo, which is really irritating. Like, if you're gonna answer a question, you should at least know something about the question. And here's another answer. This one's just spam. It says, are you looking for any kinds of loans? This is your time to apply a loan from a very good and God-fearing lady by contacting via email. And I'm like, this doesn't even have anything to do with the question. I'm not asking. The question wasn't even, how do I get some loans or anything? Like, just why? Okay, here I asked, how do I get rid of dry hands during the winter? I get really dry hands during the winter because where I live, the air is really dry during the winter months. And it's actually quite... Was that thunder? It's actually quite irritating because because it hurts and it itches and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, this person replies, move to Florida. And I'm like, you do like one does not simply just move to Florida. I've seen those houses; they cost a lot of money there. And so like, I doubt anyone with that's making a minimum wage could possibly ever move to Florida. So anyway, this other one says drink more fluids, which is not the case either, because the amount of water you drink sadly does not have any effect on how dry your skin is. I actually do remember trying that in the past. It did not work at all. Not all the answers I've gotten on Yahoo Answers were bad, however. Here's an example of a really good answer I got to a question. I was asking, what does Zuriya mean? Because I was listening to this Japanese rap song, and the rapper says, "Oh no, itsumo Zuriya." And I'm like, what does Zuriya mean? Because, like, I looked it up, and I couldn't find any definition for it, even in a Japanese dictionary. And I couldn't find an English translation for it. And this person explains to me, Zuriya is short for Zuruya, which means sly, cunning, or crafty, and the like. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then, it's funny, I already knew about this word, but somehow I did not put two and two together and think, oh, this must be short for that. So yeah. Oh man, I just noticed the nickname of this person, Ore-sama-chan. That is not grammatically correct at all. That's hilarious, actually. Okay, here's one that really annoyed me. I was asking the question, why would the trash man only empty 2 of my 3 trash cans? Because I put 3 trash cans, all of them were full, out in the curb for them to take. They only took 2 of them. Why would they do that? So, I got a lot of not very serious answers, and a lot of answers that didn't really make much sense. So, let's see. Here's one that really annoyed me, though. This one says, I just called them, asked them why they didn't empty your 3rd can. They said, because we don't like you. And then I said, oh yeah, you just come here and say that to my face, you, whatever that word is. I don't think that's a real word. Anyway, he said, okay, you little weenie. We will be there tomorrow morning and empty that can down your throat? What does that even mean? I said, okay, bring it on. I will be here waiting for you, you low IQ moron trash truck driver. Okay, why would you even say this to anyone in the first place? Like, that is just... But to be honest, as a truck driver, I have been called that a few times by some of my customers, which was quite annoying. But yeah, why would you just say that to someone? So yeah, and then he says, you bet, we will be there. I said, yeah, I'll be waiting for you, lazy... whatever that is. And so you might want to leave for work early tomorrow morning. And I'm like, what is this all about? And how in the world did it get 1 vote up? It doesn't even answer the question, and it's just stupid. And then the person underneath it says, I wanted to answer this question, but I read Mark T's answer, and myself, and so now I'll have to go change. And I'm like, and somehow this got a vote up too. That's just stupid. How many are you allowed to have? There's a limit. So basically, so yeah, one answer said that there's a limit to how much trash they can take at one time. And if you go over that limit, they'll just leave the rest unless you put a note telling them to take the rest. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case with my city, because I do remember having way more trash than that on the curb and them taking everything except the TV, because apparently they don't take TVs. I remember having literally piles of trash on the curb, and they took everything. So I'm pretty sure I didn't go over the limit if there was one. So yeah, a bunch of answers. Neither of them answered the question. Here's actually an example of a good answer that I got to one question. I was asking what determines which pantograph is raised on an electric train, and in the description I explained why I'm asking this question. When I was a kid, I used to play this train simulator called Microsoft Train Simulator. In this game, they claim the rear-facing pantograph is always raised. However, at that same time, I lived in New Jersey, and I distinctly remember seeing electric trains with the front-facing pantograph raised. Also, on the Acela Express, the rear-facing pantograph faces the other way, which leads me to believe the direction doesn't really matter. Not only that, but sometimes when riding the Aero 3 trains, an EMU train, only half of its 6 pantographs were raised. What determines which one is which one is raised? That is true, though. I have seen EMU trains on the New Jersey Transit where not all the pantographs were raised, and that used to puzzle me, because always on the Aero 3 trains, all pantographs were raised. Sometimes only 3 of them were raised, and I'm like, well, what would cause that to happen? And not only that, but how can you control which ones get raised? I thought if you push the pantograph button, it automatically raised all of them on that train. I'm guessing that's not the case. I'm guessing there's something. I'm guessing there's more to it than what you see in the train simulator. Maybe there's more controls on the pantograph button that gives you more control over which one gets raised. Otherwise, there's no way you'd be able to only raise 3 of the pantographs on an EMU. So yeah, that used to puzzle me a lot. So this person answers the question. They say, practice will vary depending on the railway concerned, though some railways will normally use the rear pantograph so that if it gets damaged for some reason, the train can still raise its front pantograph, which will have got past the point where the damage occurred. Which makes a lot of sense. That actually would explain a lot, because when I was in New Jersey, I do remember seeing Out 44s and Out 46 locomotives with the front pantograph raised, and I'm guessing in that situation the rear pantograph just happened to have gotten damaged in that situation. So yeah, that explains it completely. Okay, so here I'm asking the question, why do I keep getting a blue screen on my laptop every time I play a game on it? This was on one of the older laptops I had, where every time I was trying to run the train simulator on it, I would get a blue screen and it would say, your PC has encountered a problem and needs to restart. Then it would force restart, causing me to lose everything. And of course it was very frustrating. So yeah, I was asking, how can I prevent this? And this one person says, where is it? It says, it has the blue balls virus. To fix that, you need to drill into the center of the battery. And I'm like, what kind of idiot would type this? So frustrating. Like, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't answer the question. If you do know what you're talking about, then by all means answer the question. And answer the question seriously. The funny thing is, if I reply to any of these answers and complain that they're not being serious about their answer, I get reported for some reason. I don't understand what's wrong with this website. Okay, in this question, I was asking if are there any operating systems besides Windows, hoping that I could find an answer of some other kind of operating system I could install on my laptop that would be more compatible with the Train Simulator, because Windows kept giving me issues with Trains 12, specifically on the older laptop. I kept getting something that said Trains needs to close. Windows will alert you if a solution exists, which they never do, because a bunch of monkeys work for Windows and they never actually know how to find a solution for the problem. I've literally had that problem for years. So yeah, here are the answers that I got, which both of them I have reported because they were insulting. Okay, I doubt reporting actually does anything though. Okay. One says, that's not a Windows 10 problem. You're trying to play a Windows XP game on a Windows 10. Actually, it's not a Windows XP game. Windows XP is the lowest operating system that it'll run on. However, it was recommended to be used on Windows 7. So it is a Windows 7 game technically, but this person doesn't know what he's talking about. So I don't even know how he came to this conclusion. Anyway, underneath that he says, get a real game, moron. Like, seriously? And then there's this other question. Get off your potato, stop playing gay games, and get a real PC. Like, what's wrong with these people? Okay, so I asked the question again, hoping that this time I would get more serious answers. How can I get Trains 12 to run on my Windows 10 laptop? And then I say, first, this is not a gay game. At no point in this is the object of this game to have sex with the same gender, which does why does this generation think everything in this world it has to be gay? Like, why do they just put gay in front of everything to label it. It's so frustrating. Like, use the word the way it's intended. Don't... Like, I just don't understand what's wrong with this generation. Anyway, second, I say, when writing the description of this question, this is not a Windows XP game. By looking at the back of the case, you can clearly see at minimum it'll run on XP, but Windows Vista or Windows 7 is recommended. The laptop meets and exceeds the qualifications to run this game and trains a new era, which I'm also having trouble with. And then third, I say, I'm not a lazy potato. I work hard for 40 to 60 hours per week at a warehouse. Fourth, I say, serious answers only. If you're just here to insult me for my hobby, don't bother answering. But if you know the answer, then answer. Like, seriously, I've talked with 5-year-olds who are better at answering questions than you. And that's actually true. Because, you know, I babysat 5-year-olds before, and they're actually, and I swear they have been better at answering questions I have asked them than these people on Yahoo Answers. So yeah, I'm actually speaking out of experience. So yeah, I keep getting these errors at random. Trains has stopped working and needs to close. Windows will alert you if a solution becomes available. I spelled becomes wrong somehow. Yeah, those letters are very close together on the keyboard. And the keyboard is really small, so I keep making errors like that when I try to type. So anyway, which it never does, and then I say trains has stopped. It says trains has stopped responding. A fatal error has occurred. Trains is experiencing a problem, needs to close. Nothing happens before these messages. 1 second the game works normally, the next it shuts down. This appears to be happening randomly. How do I fix this? And then the answer to this question. Yeah. Like, seriously? It has an option. Hey, would you like to award this the best answer? No, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve the best answer unless they actually answered the question seriously and answered it correctly. I don't award best answers to morons or annoying people that like, why would you even do this? It's just frustrating.